Welcome to Building Your Business. When we think about the commercial inspection business, one of the key aspects is considering the sale of the inspection. That sale of the inspection is not like other inspection disciplines. In other inspection disciplines, many a times the client just calls, wants to know if you're available, and you book the inspection. The fee is secondary. Largely, the residential, especially discipline, the residential inspection is a commodity. All the inspections are all done about the same way. It's just personalities. Some are a little bit more, some are a little bit less, but really, it's a commodity-driven industry. When you look at commercial inspections, it's very much an inside sales type of profession. What I mean by inside sales is you're not out cold calling somebody trying to sell a product. Somebody's calling you and you're selling them a service. So with that, I want to focus this particular Building Your Business on looking at one of the most vital parts of the process. And that process is called the interview process. So let's follow along with some examples and deep dive a little bit more about the interview process. To help us better understand where the interview sits in the process, I want to remind you of the roadmap. The roadmap was created to help guide you through the entire important steps or process involved in the commercial inspection. Like driving in a car, you'd use a roadmap to help you determine where you're going. The roadmap keeps you on track during this process. There are starts and there are stops. If you think of the roadmap in 6 important stops, there's the client call, the call sheet, the reaffirm, the preliminary research, the drafting of your fee, the calling the client back, building the proposal, and then ultimately scheduling the inspection. We are, in this particular exercise, we're going to focus on this area right here, the interview. There's a lot of goals for this. But really the key is remembering the interview is conducted after we've taken the phone call from the client and after we've done our preliminary research and drafted our fee. If you follow that order, the interview becomes a very logical process. If you look at this process of the interview, it's really a sales tool. And if we think about sales tools, and you talk to anybody that does sales, they'll talk about touches or contact points. It typically takes 3 solid touches or contact points for someone to make the sale. Our first touch in this case was when the client called you and asked for you to perform an inspection for them. In that touch, you've created the first experience for that potential client. How you secured their information on your call sheet or client intake form, proposal intake form on your website is that first touch. The second touch is some form of affirmation or reaffirming the call from the client. In other words, that could be an email response saying, thank you for inquiring. We'll be back in touch with you after we've done some preliminary research. It could be a phone call left on their system. It could be an automatic pop-up from a computer intake form, again, acknowledging that you've received their call. Then the third touch is when you call the client back and conduct the interview. So without all 3 of those, you're probably not going to be as successful as you would be using all 3. Thinking again about that client interview, it's really important to make sure you dedicate enough time to this. That's 15, 20 minutes. This is not something you're going to do sitting in the front seat of your vehicle with car noise whizzing by your head. This is something you want to do that makes it sound like this interview, this call to the client is the absolute most important thing that you're doing. So being organized, being professional, and being responsive to your client during this process is going to help you be more successful and have potentially more inspection sales than if you omitted this step. As I can tell you from experience, omitting this step will decrease your success rate tremendously. I spent an entire month being too busy to complete the interview process, and my success rate from doing interviews on every inspection to not doing interviews on every inspection dropped by almost 50%. And that's simple numbers of why the interview process is so important. Let's share some tips when you're doing this interview. The key is getting to know your client, letting them speak. You shouldn't be asking, you should be receiving. So use your intelligence and your experience to help get as much information out of your client. Get the background information about them and their building needs. Because the whole idea is when you're doing this conversation, when you're completing this to the best of your ability, you're trying to eliminate all of your client's doubts and eliminating all of their concerns so that you're proving to your client that you are the most qualified, the most experienced, and their best choice, regardless of what your fee might be. The fee is just a portion of this process. So in other words, if you're interviewing a client, I think I did a good job, and all you did was say, "Hi, my name is Rob. I'm from Landmark Commercial Property Inspections. Your fee for this inspection is going to be $2,700. I'm available on Thursday. I'll send you a proposal. Please sign it, return it if you like me." That's not going to do it. You're going to sit back and wonder, why am I not winning the inspections I should be winning? You're going to try to ask the right questions, because the whole idea is you need to build a rapport with your client. Remember, they called you. They didn't randomly find you. They had to search or get a referral, and then they picked up the phone and said, "I want you." So asking questions like, "Have you ever had a commercial inspection before?" is important. Because if they haven't, then you're going to explain your process and you're going to explain the benefits of what you're going to do for them. If they've had one, then asking questions like, how'd that experience go? Did that inspector do this for you? How did that inspector give you that information? Those things, because you don't want to be compared to anybody else. You are your own inspector. So you don't want to have some form of comparison based on some form of experience that was either negative or over positive. And it was over positive, why aren't they calling the inspector they used last time? The odds are it wasn't a good experience. Asking questions about the systems. See, you've already done your research. If you've done your research properly, you know all of the systems that are present in the building. You already know that. Whether you wrote them down or whether you've remembered them or whether it's even popped up on your computer screen as you're having this conversation, you see it all. So asking them about any concerns they have with any of the systems can help you interject into the conversation, oh, so you're concerned about the HVAC system. Well, I saw during my research that you have a cooling tower and a chiller system. These are really exciting systems, but do require some specialized knowledge. This is why I will be bringing a heating, ventilating, and air conditioning technician with me in conjunction with my inspection, so that way I can make sure that I have all of your system under control and provide you with the best possible service. Boom. Or you've already looked at the roof and they're concerned with it. Well, you already know that the access points are in their locations. Say, well, I did notice that there is an access point at the rear of the building. I will be going up on the roof, depending on the weather, of course. I will be going up on the roof and look at that condition for you and provide you a good, thorough inspection report. That's really helping them take their question and answering it with your response. Having an expectation of fee is really important, especially if it's a client you've never worked with before. Because if they've never had a property inspection before, which we asked earlier, they might have an expectation of a fee based on some form of either their research or misconceived notion. What if they come out with a fee of, well, I anticipate this to be well over $5,000, and your research came up with $2,700. Then when you tell them that your fee would only be $2,700, they can go, wow, I think I'm ready to book now. Because immediately they're thinking they have a savings. Could be the contrary. What if they come back to you and say, well, my expectation is $400 or $500? Your response to them in that expectation is, well, given the fact this is 30,000 square foot of office space with 7 heating and ventilating units on the roof, it's going to take me considerable more time and effort than that expectation that you have. My fee will be much closer to. Now, at that point, you have to have that ability to interject going, and I'll also include this, this, and this. Or you can say, well, if you'd like me to, I can amend my scope to only cover this. And then that way I can fulfill that expectation of $475. Now all of a sudden they go, oh, mean you're only going to inspect the parking lot for $475? Not the whole building? Oh, now I understand. Same goes with time frame and the completion of the inspection. So, best way I can describe that is that can be a huge tool for you. What if their expectation was it was going to be a little bit more? Or I'm sorry, a little bit less than what you've described. If their time frame is immediate, well, you have to have this choice of, do I go a little bit lower to get the job right now? Or should I let this one pass and kind of hold my guns? But if their time frame is out forward at some point, let's say it's out forward weeks from now, well, wouldn't you rather have a scheduled inspection on your books ready to complete 3 weeks from now at a little lower fee than you wanted or anticipated than lose the job altogether? Me personally, if I knew that I could book a job 3 weeks or 4 weeks from now and only have it be $100 or $200 less than what I'm anticipating now, all while knowing that I'm still going to show a profit and be able to fulfill my needs, I would rather have it on the books than lose the inspection. So having the time frame is another tool for you to be able to use to be more successful. When I call the client back for the interview, I am armed. I have done my research. Remember, I promised them I was going to, so I might as well tell them about my research. I have done it. I know their building. I know what the construction type is. I know the siding materials. I know the roof. I know my access points. I know the parking area. I know the size of the parking area. I know how many systems are present, i.e. I can see the roof and count the HVAC units. I have a complete lay of the land. I am an expert. And by me being able to interject this knowledge to the client during this process, somewhere in there is going to be a logical spot for me to start talking about what I do. And I will do that. As the whole idea, where I'm trying to go with this, if the client told me 5 things they're concerned with, and I've got 5, those same 5 things that are going to be part of my inspection, then they don't have any other choice but to hire me. Because they said they're afraid of 5 things. I told them that I am not afraid of those 5 things. Then all they have to do is agree on my price. And if they like it, they like it. If they don't, well, I understand that. But I'm not going to lose a job during this process or roadmap because I didn't do a proper interview. And that's what I'm trying to show. All the while during the interview, your client's going to ask you questions. You're going to ask questions of the clients. Whole idea is when you ask them a question and they provide an answer, you're trying to allay, assuage, temper down their pain points so that you become the solution. Being the solution makes you valuable. Making you valuable makes you employable. So place your inspection process into their expectations. When they talk to you about the roof, then tell them how you inspect roofs. Whether it's I'm getting on it by their ladder that's installed, whether I'm getting on it because I brought my own ladder, whether I'm flying a drone, whether I'm using a camera on a pole, whatever means, whether I'm bringing a specialty consultant, whatever means, process, scope you're going to use, put yourself into that process. It goes the same as if you decide you're going to use specialty consultants or have ancillary services. Then tell them what each of your ancillary services can do for them and explain that there's an additional fee. And then lastly, give them a time frame. That can be a big help to selling an inspection. And if like especially if I had to temper or bring down my inspection fee, well then I'm going to put them into a time frame that fits me best. Whether it's a morning, it's an afternoon, it's a next week, or it's a 4 weeks from now. But I can use all of these as an advantage tool and not a disadvantage tool that's going to make the client feel like I'm not the right choice. They need to feel like I am always the right choice, and I'm going to continue that through this entire process. Those additional services that can be easily added to most commercial inspections can be sewer scope, roof scanning if you've got a scanning device, roof coring if you've got a coring device or a specialty consultant, cost to cure analysis of assigning value to all the issues you might find, environmental testing, whether it's visual environmental that you see or whether it's a phase 1, 2, or 3 inspection that you add. Accessibility inspections to those buildings that are concerned with accessibility, and fire door inspections that are those buildings that require fire door inspections. Each one of these is a very, very valuable ancillary service that can enhance your inspection fee. But beyond that, it enhances your expertise to the client, regardless if they decide to engage you in any one of these. By you telling them that you offer them makes you a stronger expert than one that never ever mentions that this is a service they can add. It's all about the psychology of the sale. you're always going to have objections. And the key to being successful is knowing how to overcome these potential objections that could happen during this process. The key, in my opinion, is being confident. Now, being confident involves being humble. You don't want to have too much confidence because you can kind of be short with somebody and glib. What I mean by that is if you've ever purchased a vehicle, you got a salesperson that's selling a vehicle, they're kind of a little bit pushy. They're kind of a little bit, oh, it's a no-brainer. It's a piece of cake. Oh, yeah, no big deal type phrases. Well, I'll guarantee you this. Your client's purchasing a very expensive piece of commercial property. If they've got a question or a concern that they're willing to bring to you, then it better be a concern to you. Because if they go, well, I'm really concerned with the stall doors in between the toilets in my restrooms. And you go, no big deal. I see them all the time. They're a piece of cake to inspect. Well, geez, if they commented to you that it's a concern, then you need to have a little better answer than no big deal. I understand. I can see where you could be concerned about those, especially if they're loose or damaged or water stained, because that could be a problem to your patrons or your employees. I will make sure that as I do your inspection, I'll take careful notice of those stall doors, because now I'm making myself available. I'm going to illustrate my process. I'm going to talk about my expert services. If they brought something up, then I'm going to tell them how I'm going to look at it, because I am an expert. I am the expert they call. My unique training is going to be something. When you talk about, I can provide accessibility inspections because I've been uniquely trained to perform that inspection, or fire door inspections, or I have been a commercially focused inspector for the last 5 years. This is my passion, and this is what I am very good at. Makes them feel better about you than somebody that might not focus in commercial inspections. Yeah, I know commercial inspections. By telling them that you're trained, by telling them that you're a member of the Certified Commercial Property Inspectors Association, can be an enhancement to this offering versus, yeah, I'm a home inspector and I also do commercial. Different point of view. And then, as I've said so many other times during this session, be the solution to the pain point. If you're not going to be the solution, then offer the solution. Well, I do see that you have a cooling tower and a chiller unit. Those are very complex systems. In my proposal, I'll give you two options. One option, I'm going to do a very good visual inspection of this very complex system, and I'll tell you through my experience what I see with those types of systems, but it'll be quite limited. But I'll give you another option, and I can actually bring my technician with me, and they'll do a very thorough inspection of that cooling tower and chiller system so that you have a very keen idea of what's going to be necessary. That's, again, one of those things that if you don't want to use my specialty consultant, want to bring your own in, that's awesome. But I'm going to provide you that opportunity so you don't have to look up somebody, as I have somebody I can trust. I've provided now a solution to that pain point. And that's what we're trying to do to overcome any reason why that client is not going to choose you and then go choose somebody else. Remember, to get to where we're at, we've done our research. We've established a good, fair fee based on your company's expectations and all that research you've done. So make sure that you're doing all the right things and avoiding the wrong things. Some of the wrong things could be asking questions of your clients that don't provide you any benefit. So don't focus so deeply on their company or your company, giving them your entire vitae or resume. Focus on being the solution to their issues. Focus on asking them what they're having issues with and why you're their best choice. Avoid making any assumptions and being pushy. There's a difference between being pushy and being confident. A client needs to feel like they have a choice and that you're their best choice. So if I've put my list 5, 10, 15 great reasons why I'm the best choice out in front of them, then the only thing they have is really my price. And I listened to them, and if they paused or rebutted or questioned or had concerns of my price, then I'm either overvaluing myself to them, do I want to take the job, or maybe I'm going to amend my fee and give them a better solution. Oh, I understand, that fee was a little high for you. The style, type, and size of this roof, one of the things we could do is if you brought a roofer out to inspect the roof, I could exclude that from my inspection and do the rest of the inspection, and that roofer could provide you additional values. And who knows? I know a lot of roofers that are in the marketplace that give free estimates and free inspections. So that might be something you can find. I don't know. I'm trying to provide solutions to you so that your client doesn't hang up. And lastly, avoid close-ended questions. These are questions that only have yes/no responses. These are those questions when your child comes home from school and you go, "How was your day?" "Fine." "Do you have homework?" "Yes." Do you want a snack?" "No." They're closed-ended questions. Keep that conversation moving forward. Go to your child. "You had history today. What was the most important thing you learned during history today?" "I don't know." Or, "Really? There had to have been something." Move that conversation forward is really the best thing you can do. So ask them about that system. "Oh, you're concerned with the HVAC system. What specifically is concerning you with the HVAC system? Or the parking lot, or whatever other system?" Because if you can deep dive that, and again, rolling that conversation forward to provide the solution to that pain point makes you invaluable. A client took the time to call you. Whether it's through research or referral, they picked up the phone and inquired about your service, or they went online and took your proposal intake form. You've reaffirmed their call, and you spent time to do the research. When your research was finished, you used that research to develop a hypothetical or draft of an inspection fee. And you called the client back. Doing that process in a logical order and asking really good questions of your client in a professional manner. That's not with the windows open in your car. That's not with a barking dog in the background. It's a high professional manner, and hitting all their pain points and listening to their concerns and explaining your entire process allows you to be more successful and perform more inspections than it would be if you just call them back. "Hi, my name is Rob. I looked at your property. The inspection fee is $2,700. I'm going to send you a proposal. I look forward to helping you in the future. They're only going to compare $2,700 to whatever other inspector they call before or after you. But if you give them that extra time and use some of the tips shared for this interview process, then that client's going to have a better visceral feeling over the services you're going to provide at whatever fee you provide them than it would be if you just gave them a price tag and said, I hope I see you in the future. Use the resources that the CCPIA has placed on as links in this video as well as throughout our website. Those resources are there to make you more successful and help you provide better, more frequent commercial property inspections.